Do I have to pull up the contract?
It doesn't mean squat. It's not.
It doesn't say my show. It says zero.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Shadow and Sun Show, and welcome back to another Appendix and book club. And one of my favorite books, easily top 3, top 5 favorite books of all time, for a lot of different reasons. But since it's my birthday month, I get to pick the book we're reading this particular cycle. So I picked this one. Plus, we had already read the Nine Princes in Amber, which I'm assuming everybody
yeah.
didn't hate. After that,
I liked it. I wasn't here, but I liked it.
Yeah. I wish you were here. I wish Dark Knight was here too, but he can't make it because of the, him being in Ireland, and it's really really early there, I guess. So we're really really late, depending on how you look at things. What's up, Mobius? Long time no see, man. But yeah, this one's really near and dear to my heart. What'd you guys think of it, just overall?
I can definitely see why, because this was a really strong read. I was very impressed. I'm not sure if it'll hold the same place in my heart as it does for you, but I also understand that, you actually met Zelazny in person.
Yeah, we were, he was vastly older than me. I was very young when I met him, but we did, communicate back and forth, and he encouraged me to do stuff, and it took me about 40 years to finally get around to it, but I figured,
yeah. I'm expecting a thank you letter from Zelazny any day now, that bastard.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Honestly, he might honestly be able to do it, even years after his death. We'll see.
He's been gone about...
I'm pretty impressive. I can make a lot of people do some weird shit.
I meant more like he'd overstep the grave and send you a thank you letter.
Yeah. I think I can make him do it. I made Shadow start writing, so...
Yeah, so anything's possible, right? And he was taken from us way too early. I think he was in his late 40s.
Who knew? You just had to call him gay a shitload of times.
I don't think that's what did it.
Shut up! I got my secret to success, and I'm sticking with it.
Yeah, good luck with that. So,
what did you think of it, right?
Well, what did you think of it, Justin? I saw you kind of frown there at Tanner's.
Yeah, it was kind of weak.
It was what?
It was kind of weak.
Really?
It's just a guy moping around for like 6 hours.
I wouldn't go nearly that far, but I've noticed that Amber tends to be very hit and miss with people. Either people click with it perfectly, or they're just like, "What the fuck am I reading?"
Yeah.
He's the manic he's like, what if you took that stupid donkey from the 100 Acres?
Eeyore? He's not stupid.
He's a manic depressant.
Hey, one of my best friends is a manic depressive. He's one of the most intelligent people I know. That's like
that's got nothing to do with anything, man. You're comparing apples and hand grenades here. Being manic depressive doesn't make you dumb. It makes him manic depressant. Yeah, he's a very depressing individual.
You think so?
Yes.
I thought he was. I never got that. Did anybody notice? I'll get to you in just a second, Raven, because I've been holding this back for a while. Did anybody notice there were times in the audiobook where he sounded just like Adam West?
It probably was Adam West.
That would be awesome casting. Although I do think they mentioned that he looks like he can pass as a Portuguese guy. So,
well, himself, he's, I want to say Polish, but I think that was just the character in the story.
You listen to the YouTube one, which is not the one I gave Raven. The one I gave Raven is the abridged version.
Oh, okay.
it
Because
was
I also gave her the one I listened to, and the one I
yeah.
gave Tanner.
Should have listened to that one. I ended up listening to that one when I ended up listening to the first 40 minutes 3 times in a row. Uh,
This might have
I was doing
influenced
something,
my.
but
Sorry. This may have influenced my opinion of this. I actually just straight up read it.
oh yeah.
Oh, good for you. Good for you.
No, that is good, but I tend to get other things done at the same time.
So, Ray,
Um,
what did you think, and how far did you get?
I got all the way almost to like the 40 minutes to the end.
Oh, so much good stuff happens there.
I'll keep my lips sealed till the after
Oh,
show.
but some of the best
you
stuff. in
had
the story.
time. You could have put it on 2 times speed, Raven.
I did,
Some of the
but
best
I
stuff.
had to stop a few times and just rewind it, whatever. There were points where I didn't quite remember everything from the first book because it's been a while, and
It
there's a
has.
book now that's that
It's been a
connection.
year.
I like
You
how
should-
he is. Well, he is with his women. Interesting how he,
he bidded 2 chicks in
how
this.
he handles the ladies.
Part of
Yeah.
the genre.
Yeah,
Part of the well, it's not just part of the genre; it's part of the character. The character's family. They're all rather
licentious.
individuals.
Yes.
Yeah, especially the father. But apparently, all of them have that going. I can't even imagine what the women were like because they rarely talk about them from that point of view. But damn,
They had to be pretty wild to get Oberon's attention. I think they mentioned he went through 3 wives over his life, at least.
at least, yeah. I was thinking, the Amber women would give a whole new meaning to the word cougar because they just chew you up and spit you out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Uh,
Looks 25 and has the sexual skills of someone who's 2,500.
right?
Yep.
Like
Would be
a
pretty,
pile of wood ash, sawdust. I know. Thank
What are
you.
you talking about? Sawdust.
It looks 25 and has the sexual skill of somebody that's 20,000 or whatever. And
Inexperience, dude. Inexperience.
yeah, I was just like, I'm just fucking with you. But
So, did anybody have a favorite character this time around? There were some new characters I thought warrant the question, and knowing what I know,
what's her name?
Gara?
I'm absolutely your brother's granddaughter. Let's bone.
That would be
Absolutely.
Dara, yes.
Yeah.
That's her name.
Coin flip between her, and not for the reasons I thought when I started this, and Ganelon. I was
Okay.
very impressed with what they did with Ganelon.
Galon's a very, very interesting character. I'm surprised nobody said Benedict. He's just like the consummate, absolute, most perfect warrior ever. Even missing his right hand, he still can the best of them.
Which will regrow, might I add in. It'll take longer than 4 or 5 years, but that arm will regrow.
Maybe.
I know in my version it says Corwin says something to the effect of mine took 5 years, so yours will probably take a bit longer.
He was talking about his eyes though, so yeah.
Fair enough.
that's what
It's not that Benedict is badly written. He's a very impressive character, but because, he's the consummate warrior, it's a little easier to click with the old exile and the young lady who introduces herself with a fencing match.
Yeah,
Yes.
that was very interesting. And Raven was asking me some questions earlier.
Oh,
and
the
I'm like,
Dungeon Minister's here. Hey, man, I love your stuff.
hey, what's
Yeah.
up, Dungeon Minister? I don't know if you read these books, but if you haven't, please go read them. It
Yeah.
looks like he has. I couldn't answer Raven because I had forgotten some stuff. It's been a while since I read these, but not really that long. But my brain is starting to fog up and calcify in all the wrong places. So I really couldn't answer her because it's like I didn't want to get it wrong because like I said, I've read these books like about a dozen times each book over the years. So You're just gonna have to read the next one and the next one and the next one, Raven, to find out. Did you have a favorite character?
Not in particular. I same character really did the seductress who was kind of gross because isn't that or they're related? She's his niece, right?
Well, are they?
Huh?
What if they're not?
Well,
Yeah.
well, real of course. You gotta read it.
She's the daughter of his brother.
You didn't listen to the end, Raven.
Yeah. I said, what if they're not?
Yeah.
What if they're not related? Is
What
the
if they're
age
not
thing a big deal when they're both Amberites?
Yeah. Well,
Maybe it's less the age and and more the mileage, you know?
no. You know what that means is she's probably either his full-on sister or his mother.
Oh, that's just
I can verify that she's neither, and scarier.
Yeah,
She's
my assumption
Batman?
is with the mask imagery
Batman.
is that she was when he's on the Black Road, which I want to say that's a link to the original draft of The Last Unicorn, because the Red Bull was the Black Road there. I'm pretty sure she was the same woman tied up to the pyre with the mask. Amber will fall.
In book 1,
Book 2.
book 2. I don't remember.
The crazy horned thing in this the witch circle or whatever it was called.
That too.
Oh.
Okay, I might have read something. I definitely read book 2, but I'm remembering
Yes.
scenes that I don't think you guys were familiar with. That may have been cut
The,
out
the
in
one we listened to was the unabridged version. The one I
Okay,
gave
okay.
Raven was the abridged version. But you ended up listening to the YouTube one, Raven?
yeah. I want to
Yeah,
switch back and forth because I had it on all 3 devices. I had it on the laptop, the phone, and then the tablet, depending on where I was at today. So
Yeah.
I had one that Shadow had sent me, and then the one you sent.
Dungeon Minister, we're talking about Dara, the young lady who claims to be Benedict's great granddaughter. But spoiler.
But Benedict, Benedict has no idea who she is. So.
Mhm. And I'm pretty sure that's something he'd be pretty aware of who his offspring are, if he even has any, which I don't think he does.
He mentions he did not, or no descendants like that. That's a very curious wording. But because Corwin, she throws herself into his arms. One thing leads to another. Later on, Benedict comes after him furious, thinking of Corwin's done some other offense. He's like, dude, stop. I didn't mean to. And he doesn't respond to Dara. He's like, okay, dude, like, Dara's here. Later on, he's like, who is Dara? Your granddaughter? I don't got a granddaughter.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where Corwin goes, what the fuck?
There's a scene in which Corwin finds a shallow grave. It was Corwin, right? Not his buddy.
Well, first it was Ganelon. Ganelon showed him the shallow graves.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it was Ganelon. I was like wondering because he doesn't say that. He says I found later on. So that is obviously a case of I wrote a cool idea, but it is a Deus Ex Machina of a device. So I went earlier on in the story and added something in to foreshadow it. That's something you need to learn, Shadow. It is when you have a cool thing. When you have a cool thing you want to do, you need to set it up earlier on. And if you haven't already done that, you got to make a note of it and go back and do it in your second write. Okay? Make a note of that.
Second cousin twice removed.
It's not as squicky as what's presented first, but what comes after is much scarier. So flip a coin.
Yeah.
But basically, he sets up there's a bunch of dead people in a grave.
Yeah.
And then they later turn out to be, what's his name's?
Benedict's house servants.
His servants. But then, like, who the fuck was serving at the house? Well,
Dara was there.
Dara and everyone else was there. Probably fucking spies or whatever. Or they
No.
didn't notice that part of the staff was missing. Like that would have been a rumor to go. It's a hole in the story now that I think about it.
I think that nobody was really there to notice, and that Dara uh, did it in a most grisly fashion with great skill and cunning to
Yeah.
foreshadow or show off how ruthless and conniving she is, and that she would just kill them for. I'm really not sure why she did.
Now,
My assumption.
if you want
Yeah,
to
personally.
pad the book, sorry, if you want to pad a story, this is a great moment to just like have a scene of the 4 of them getting murdered, where you
Mhm.
don't actually acknowledge who the assailant is. It's just someone. That way, you can reflect back to it later, and it gives you more action scenes.
Mm-hmm. Thankfully, Zelazny went for the smarter option of showing how subtle the knife when they pass by the guard's corpse later on.
Mm. Sometimes you want the extra blood because you got a weak point in your story, right? So
There was plenty of blood before that, but fair
yes,
point.
yes. I'm just saying, like if you're writing something and you have a similar thing, and you've got like, hey, we've had a lot of talking for a while and nothing's actually happening. Well, this group of people we found dead, we can actually show them getting killed as well.
That's one of the things I really like about these books is the way the characters verbally spar and fence.
Hmm. Yes. Uh,
Mhm.
Talking is also an obstacle. You should treat the dialogue and banter the same way you do fight scenes,
Mm-hmm.
because they are technically fights of ideas.
Hmm. What did you guys think of his his sword fights? He was a master fencer, and I think he showed that off brilliantly.
Mm-hmm.
I am no amateur either.
No one said you were.
I'm literally holding a foil, and I find them boring.
In this story, or just in general?
In this story, in all of his writing, I find his fighting over technical and under passionate.
I think so.
Yes.
Hmm. What about you guys?
Um,
I like how his sword has this personality. He's got a name
the
for it,
Grey Hunter.
which I can't. Yeah, and it's its own entity.
Hmm.
You know, um, I thought that was really cool. I don't know much about sword fighting. I like swords, like a collection of them, but I don't really know how to use them. And I just thought that how he, I don't know, just the persona of the
Mm-hmm.
sword.
Yes. I thought it was kind of clunky the way he introduced. Hey, look! I finally gave this sort of name that I didn't give it in the first one. So I'm just gonna say I give it a name now.
A little
You guys
retcon.
remember that? You guys remember that, okay?
My assumption is that when reading that the first time is this is kind of like Fafhrd and Grey Mouser, where they have different weapons, but they name it the same thing.
No, this is definitely a
Also,
magic item that he essentially created, by using the ability to walk through shadow to find what he was imagining, which I think is kind of an overly powerful power. It's, I mean, it literally lets you get away with like anything,
I
and
know
no
Brent
one's ever
can do
done it
that.
before.
I'm
Also, the
gonna walk
dungeon
up to this
master's
tree.
side of his head's steaming a little bit here. What's going on? Who is she? So long story short, about is it 1/3 or halfway through the book or so? The main character Corwin meets through a sword fight and a picnic. Um, this young lady named Dara, and she presents herself as Benedict, his brother's descendant. She, I can't quite remember if she is aware she's Amberite or if she has memories of that or some such. But Corbin shows
No,
her yeah.
she only knows that she is the granddaughter, or the great granddaughter, technically, and that uh, her great grandfather, because he insists she call him grandfather, let her play with cards and sometimes takes her to a village, but she is aware of Shadow from some of the other brothers visiting.
Also, he's informing us that he's read them all and does know, and I just misread what he said there. Hard.
Okay, yes.
Yeah.
Speaking of intelligent,
So
you
what
first,
was the
sorry.
creature? Oh, shoot.
No,
Go
you
ahead.
first. You first.
Go ahead, Tanner.
No, you first. Leave first.
It's a total change of subject. I was wondering what that creature was that came to the window when he was in his room, or Lorraine's room. I think it was his quarters. And Lorraine was there, and they had been drinking wine. And all of a sudden, they kind of sense there's something going on in the air, and they're like, he tells her to go back behind the bed, and that thing comes up to the window. What was that thing that he eventually vanquished?
The easiest explanation would be it's a demon, but technically it's a creature of chaos.
Yeah.
It's whatever amber is, it's the opposite, and that goes to do with the cosmology of the amber stories that doesn't fully get fleshed out until later, for obvious reasons. It's a lot to take on. It's kind of
He hadn't figured it out yet.
Oh, I think he figured it out just fine because he is laying groundwork as these books go. He's just not doing the whole Brandon Sanderson style science lesson.
Oh yeah.
And having
did
read a lot of his previous work and post work, I can see that he's trying to write in the style of someone who is just telling his side of the story versus writing a great book. I think he actually goes out of his way to be in the character.
The
as opposed
unreliable narrator.
Oh, absolutely unreliable.
Funny you should mention that.
That's part of the charm
Yeah.
of some of the characters. They don't tell the truth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They like holding their cards close to their chest.
That's a great way of putting
George.
it. What's up, George?
Yeah. That's Rooster Gaming, if anyone doesn't know.
Nice to meet you, Rooster Gaming.
Yeah, he mentions the courts of chaos, and that's basically okay. Imagine Amber's here at the exact opposite end of everything is the courts of chaos, and they don't particularly get along, and everything in between is shadows.
No. I'm just saying, the courts of chaos sounds like it has more structure to it because it's called a court. Where Amber is just like shadows and diaphanous and whatnot.
Might be part of the point.
Especially when you get to meet the we've all heard of the character Oberon, the father. Well, there's a grandfather, and when you meet him, then you understand why things are so weird when it comes to Amber being what should be law, but like the opposite of chaos, but is really more like just more chaos. But it's my chaos, damn it! It's going to be my way, but chaos.
So still law.
It's my chaos, but with blackjack and hookers.
Actually, forget the law. Actually, that would be creating the law, wouldn't it? Yeah, like reading this, another point in favor of, along with Anderson and Moorcock, for alignments and how those interact. And this is where Tanner's going to do the loony bin thing here. Reading this, I had something kind of dawning in the back of my head about Corwin here. Or at least either him or Ganelon. If I'm crazy, I'm crazy. Is it just me, or is the guy kind of lawful evil?
Is he what?
Lawful evil.
Who? Corwin?
Yeah.
he's not a good guy. Let's just put it that way.
At
That
least
is
he
fair.
used to
I'll
not
take
be
that.
a good guy.
He's definitely not a good guy, but he's not the worst of the lot. We will meet worse characters. And thanks for the segue. Did you guys have a least favorite character?
Corwin.
Of course.
Not
you did.
really, no.
That guy.
I mean, I guess the guy who
We don't spend enough time with anyone. Sorry, man, but we don't spend enough time with anyone else for me to actually dislike them.
kind of the guy who killed his first girl, but he's kind of supposed to be unlikable, so that's sort of a cheat.
Yeah, the nameless boyfriend, or if he
Oh, he
had
had
a
a
name.
name. I'll flip through and grab it again.
General Butt Crack, the lady smacker.
In that case, for now, until the end of this episode, he shall be General Butt Crack the Lady Smiter. Honestly, his
Thank
parents should
you
have
for
named
stopping
something
by,
better.
Father. I really appreciate it. One of these days, you got to come in and join us when you have a little more time. But I know there is a time difference, and as you said, you got to herd Munchkins off to the land of Nod. So we will see
30.
you on down the road, brother.
Well, kids used to go to bed pretty early, man. He's being the responsible parent here.
Yeah.
You take care, Dungeon Mister, and thank you for everything you do for us.
Yeah. Party on, Dungeon Minister.
Indeed, party on, and God bless. Yeah,
Taco Bell.
he'll figure out General Butt Sniffer. Sorry, that's
I'm
a
pretty sure he wasn't a general, but we get the
yeah.
the boyfriend.
It's general the same way that say Dr. Pepper is a doctor.
Hey, Dr. Pepper was a legitimate doctor. I'm gonna find
Oh, he was. Oh, neat. So
No, I
he had
think
more
Justin's pulling your leg.
Okay.
How about
Well-
you, Raven? Was there a character you despised more than the others?
No. I didn't despise any of
Okay.
them.
I honestly, it's going to be kind of a shock, but I kind of don't like Benedict.
Like it's not that he's badly written, but he's so milquetoast for like the ultimate warrior. He's too
No,
quiet.
he's so middle of the road, fence sitting. Fucking pick a side already, you bastard. Why not take the crown for yourself? Nobody was more worthy of having it than him, but he's too much of a daddy's little apple polisher to take the crown for himself. He should have. He could have kicked Eric and Corwin's ass simultaneously and said, I'm taking it till Dad gets home. I'm the only one that can be trusted, and I'm doing it. You guys are just screwing shit up. And nope.
Well,
He goes running off, hiding in Avalon, somebody else's dream shadow, not even his own. Couldn't even come up with his own cool place, which we know would have been like ancient Japan, which would have been fine. But
Or
no, he's
Greece.
hanging out in Corwin's, favorite haunt, waiting for what? To do what? He could have been king, and nobody would have ever been able to. Even his father wouldn't have been able to take the crown back had he wanted it. Yeah.
But you have to have the drive to do that in the first place. And he didn't.
I know. That's why I didn't like him, because I'd have been all about the crown.
No,
Would have
you
been my
wouldn't
crown
have.
long before
You
the
would have-
story
you-
started.
You would have
I
gone
probably
into
would
your
have killed my
own
own
shadow.
man to get it.
You would have gone into your own shadow, which would have been the garage with a soiled mattress on the floor, and there would have been two guys with Astrolube waiting for you to turn the camera on.
No.
Oh, I see what you're referencing. I'm certain that'd be your shadow, maybe.
No,
Yeah, a lot of projecting going on there.
There is a contract I have signed to call this guy gay as often as possible. I will send it to you later.
Yeah. Benedict was like the immovable object, just the sort of the pillar, the foundation of what the Amberites should be, and lacking all the cunning and the guile and the greed and the avarice that make Amberites so much fun.
I'm
Even
reminded
poor
of
Random, is a backstabby little bastard you should never trust, but everybody seems to love.
I'm kind of reminded of a line from Caligula, although the context is much darker. You're an honest man, Jemias. Therefore, you're a bad Roman, and therefore you're a traitor.
I have a question. How did he get his eyesight back?
It just
grew
grew back. They
How
just
do
grew
you-
back because they're immortals, and in which along with that, their strength and their they're literally better than everybody because they're the real people. Everybody else, except the people who are born in Amber, are like reflections of the true city, that being Amber. So every other alternate reality is really somehow a reflection of Amber.
Or a reflection of a reflection, or a
Right.
reflection of a
That's why they're called
reflection. Or...
shadows, because the shadows, the alternate dimensions, are just places that exist because Amber was the first place to be created, and therefore everything is a reflection of it somehow, some way. Even the
It's
weird dimension where random was, or does that come later? Okay, I won't say. But
it's
yeah,
Plato's allegory of the cave crossed with the multiverse before Recyclewood ruined it. Does that make sense, Rave?
No.
Yeah, yeah. How long was he in
5
prison?
years.
5 years.
That's how long it took for his eyes to
I
regrow.
think it was actually 4 years and then a year abroad, trying to do his current plan.
Indeed, the best character in this franchise gave him a lift out.
Oh.
But and something else I couldn't figure out is why did he want to be incognito and not?
Because he's on lamb.
Yeah, because he never knew who he was going to bump into that might report him back to Eric. Again, that's how sneaky, conniving, and suspicious these Amberites are. They trust no one, especially family, and running, around in shadow. You never know who you're going to bump into, and lo and behold, he can't help but bump into,
Like,
Benedict.
no, okay, yeah, not sure who's friend or who's foe, especially after being out, locked up for
Yeah,
5
he
years.
has no idea who knew who he was, and as it was when he got to Avalon, he was remembered as a demon. They didn't have fond memories of Corwin when he was, actually there the previous time, which shows you how much he's changed from the time of the plague where he lost his memory to the current era where he's, considerably mellowed by having lost his memory and had to redevelop himself, which is kind of an interesting amnesiac character arc, which I'm not a fan of.
And Lorraine, she left him because she thought that he was
In
demonic,
some
right? But she ran
Yeah.
off with the ex-boyfriend. Okay.
because he's a monster, and because when Corwin was Corwin back in Avalon, he had lynched her grandfather for crimes against him, and so she found out, oh my God, you're the guy who killed my grandfather, and you're a demon like the stories all said, and you've been lying to me this whole time. I'm out. I guess I'll go back with the guy who just beat me.
Yeah, that's enough to kind of make a girl kind of wonder.
Yeah, but I mean, he's being nice to her, and everything she asks, he's doing. You'd think that well, it's been a couple, like 100 years, maybe I don't know the whole story, blah blah blah. Maybe my grandfather was a douche and deserved what he got, but no. So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I kind of wish she had stuck around and not thrown herself to the lions, but
well, he needed to get rid of her because he wasn't going to actually sleep with her. So
I did.
no, I kind of got the impression that he didn't. Uh,
No, they didn't. They slept together, but they didn't.
he literally said nothing happened, which is weird,
Yeah.
considering he's an Amberite and it's a novel for Christ's
Yeah,
sake.
well,
Wants to bounce already.
not
the first time-
reliable narrator.
What?
Not reliable narrator.
Yeah, maybe they did. And he didn't want to kiss and tell. But then when he goes,
That's what I assumed was going on there.
They
I mean,
boned like donkeys, and she didn't like it. That's why she.
and they
left.
braid like it too. Woo!
Yeah.
yeah, but then the one time he does talk about it, it's to talk about how he slept with his second cousin or whatever Dungeon Minister said.
Yeah.
Maybe he's into that kind of thing.
Well, I
he
assume that
he couldn't tell his story without admitting to that. So.
and I think that that's sort of
He made that one up to make her look worse for tricking them into sleeping with him.
I think that trying to portray the whole kingdom of Amber as like a feudalistic medieval style thing. I think that relationship would have just been commonplace, between kings and dukes and earls and their removed relatives. I think it would have been like, what do you mean? Of course I did.
What I
Yeah.
was sort of envisioning, on the
Where he
note of
would've-
the decadent courts and kings and stuff like that, what I sort of envision when I'm reading these Amber stories is that the place kind of looks like a medieval movie from like the Technicolor era,
Mm-hmm.
but
Very much.
the morals of everyone is closer to the Vincent Price led Mask of the Red Death.
Okay. Yeah, kind of. Very,
No,
very,
no.
very
Well,
Machiavellian.
Maybe not on the
You
point
know-
where they're maybe not where they're
What
devil
was that?
worshippers, but they're very
What was that movie with the fat chick in the pink latex thing? Made by that guy with the pencil mustache. And
definitely your shadow, man.
Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp was in it.
Johnny Depp, fat chick.
Are you talking Edward Scissorhands?
Before that,
Okay. I don't know.
it
I'm
was
looking up Johnny Depp
it's-
movies.
It's
I'm
one of
curious
those
now.
cult, disgusting films.
You're gonna have to wait till someone pulls it up because I have no
I
idea.
don't- Hey man, I'm looking. I don't remember anything like this from Dead Man or
Baby something?
Ed Wood. So I'm
It's Ed Wood. Ed Wood made that movie. I think it was an Ed Wood film, or it was before that.
when did Johnny Depp work with Ed Wood? Are
I
you
don't
seeing
know.
movies we're not seeing here, man?
I'm not looking it up right now. So, no, the creator of that film is compared to Ed Wood. That's what I'm thinking of. What was it? It was like Baby something or Pink Flamingo.
I'm seeing Crybaby here, but I'm not seeing
That's
any.
the one.
I'm seeing Tracy Lords and Iggy Pop in here, so I'm willing to believe it.
Yes.
Oh, there we go. It was Waters' first film following the death of his muse and frequent collaborator Divine, so that's probably who you're thinking of. John Waters.
John Waters, not Wood.
Ed Wood.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, there's like a Machiavellian like relationship of incest between something and something. I don't know. I only ever read the Wikipedia.
Yeah, they're
There's a line even I won't cross. That's entering your house, Shadow.
Oh, neat. William Dafoe was in this movie.
And that's why you shouldn't watch it.
Nice.
what's wrong with William Dafoe?
He's more
Yeah, I
degenerate
think
than
it
you
was
are.
fun. Actually, that was funny.
He is a weird something, but I don't know that I would go that far. I never met the guy, so he definitely is a weirdo, though. But how weird, I don't know.
Apparently, the guy's pretty down to earth and is off camera. So
Yeah, I did
assume
watch
he's one of
a
the-
documentary on him a couple months back on YouTube. He seems like kind of like Christopher Walken. When you meet him in real life, you're expecting him to be, crazy, but he's just a normal dude.
I'm
He's
going
not
to
so
stick
crazy.
with the meme version. It's funner for me.
Yeah. I mean, Walken is still kind of weird, but he's not like crazy.
The weirdest thing he'll probably do around you is go, and by the way, Shadow, I never whisper.
I got to fix my lighting here. I'm listening.
Yeah, we feel like we're leaving in the dark here a little bit.
I know. Well, I've got an electrical problem, and I've got extension cords running like a bowl of spaghetti through this
Oh,
room,
dear.
and I forgot to turn one of these lights on over here.
So, what'd you guys like best
I'm
about this
listening.
book? If
Raven's going to have an electrical fire before she's eaten by cats.
Well, then they'll get a cooked meal for a change.
Oh my stars, you
Oh,
guys!
God, you're horrible. That was a good one, though. I gotta give it to you.
I have my moments.
Gold star, Shadow. Gold star.
I will wear
You
it
had
for
to
2
top
minutes
that
without
one
inside.
garage shadow you put forth.
So was there anything about this you did like, Justin?
stuff happened.
It at least
Man.
didn't do nothing. This is a high watermark.
Fucking stuff happened, and like
Yeah, it
there
wasn't.
have been some stories we've read on this show or
Nothing
listened
happened.
to where stuff did not happen.
Okay, so
So
I'm guessing you're talking the adult themed stuff or just stuff in
no,
general.
no, just stuff. Period.
Okay.
We've read 200 to 300 page stories in which absolutely nothing has happened.
Yeah, I don't even remember those. That's how blessed I am with this.
Moon Pool comes to mind.
We
They
read that.
walked
What
around-
happened at the
we
moon
walked
pool?
around-
His text was just really bulky. Crunch, crunch,
What?
crunch, crunch. Bulky. Like the text is hard to
Clunky.
get through. Bulky.
Yes.
Bulkey. Crunch.
So how about you, Tanner?
I'm not
What's you
getting
like
the
most
joke.
about this book?
What I really appreciated is that this read like an Advanced Dungeons and Dragons player's journal.
Okay.
Like,
So
you-
mildly retarded. I'm writing one of those, so I know what it's like.
I'm not even dignifying that response, but I will clarify what I meant. It's like you've got, I went to this area, recruited an old enemy of mine. Hopefully, the dice will be with me when he finds out. Here's the mass combat. Here's when I defeated a rival of mine in psychic combat. Don't think we didn't notice the psychic stuff, Gary. The named magic weapon, plenty of demons. I know that I'll definitely be tapping this in the Kothar books for how I approach demons later on.
Kothar.
What? I like
Kothar's
Kothar.
another book in which nothing fucking happened.
Could have fooled me. A lot happens in 70 pages, man.
I just reread it this afternoon.
Well, I'm sorry you didn't love it,
What?
but I think it's just fine.
I opened it up by accident thinking it was something else and started reading. It was like,
Okay, understanding that would suck. This is why we have cover pages, friend. You gotta, check
I
that.
have it as a PDF on my
Okay, that makes more sense.
and it's got like the first 3 books in it, so it's like, what the fuck is this?
So how about
It's
you,
like the
Raven?
empty
What did you
titles
like
up on
most
here.
about this novel?
Oh, my lamp fell over. Okay,
Here.
I'm back. I think this is. Hopefully you see me.
That's
now.
much better.
There.
Good to
That's
see ya
better. Much
in the
better.
flesh.
Okay.
So what did you like most about this
I'm sorry, what
novel?
did you well, I like anything that's got, fantasy type, monsters, dungeons, dragons, stuff like that. I love all that kind of stuff. The sword fighting, the whole bit of it. I really would like to see this character develop a little bit more of a romance
You
instead of so much
want a romantasy. That's not going to happen,
politics.
Raven.
It's got a
Might
lot of
later.
politics, and then of course a lot of battles. And I don't mind battles. I love that.
Yeah,
sort of thing. But
Well, you
I would
kinda
like to see the
prefer-
romance part of
yeah,
it.
the romance is
kinda,
already
you know-
over. I'm just gonna say that right now.
Actually,
Oh.
I need to retract a comment for a sec. There is actually something I will put as my keystone favorite part of this book, and it's what I was trying to stroll through earlier. After he's killed, obviously this is not his name, General Women Smacker, left him in the dirt. Actually, no, he strings him up in a tree as an example, and he's like riding back to camp, and he's like, I'm not. I love the like end of Punisher monologue where he's like, I'm not a good man, but until the day that all the prophets say are coming and never believe, where we're all dragged down to the dirt, I will slay every last asshole like this. And I'm like, yep. Pure, lawful evil, badass BC.
Okay,
Hmm.
yeah, that's weird because I always picture him. I never really thought of him as lawful evil, but I definitely didn't think of him as lawful good either.
Maybe lawful neutral. I could be exaggerating a little bit. It's just
He's a
douchebag.
bastard. Don't
Yes.
sugarcoat it. He's
lawful
not.
manic-
bastard.
or
A
he
manic
was.
depressive douchebag.
He was a bastard. Now he's
So lawful evil.
Oh, he has compassion, though. He could have left Lancelot, by the way.
Oh, absolutely. Like,
That's
this
true.
is kind of what I mean by PC. Like, and I wish more players understood this. You can play an evil line PC who still loves someone or cares about something.
Right.
The trick is that you're just funneling your nastier qualities to,
The monsters.
you know, yeah,
The other monsters.
yeah. You're the big scary monster that keeps bigger, scarier monsters away. Now lick my foot, peasant.
For me, my favorite part is I'm going to go twofold. The way he does the whole plot and plan to get guns into Amber, knowing that there's
It's evil.
that there's an issue.
Raven, Google licking feet.
Raven, don't actually do that.
No, this is a thing we do.
I'm sure
Okay.
she's already done
Licking
so.
feet.
I think she has a not necessarily a working knowledge of the fetish, but she's heard of it.
She's Googling it, and that's all we need to know.
How you put up with 3 guys around, I have no clue, Dave.
Yeah.
Hey, when she shows up on my show, we get her to look up far worse stuff, okay?
Yeah.
Kind of based, honestly.
Just watch her screen for the reaction, and
This used to be a family show.
it did. Once upon a time, it was.
Bullshit, it was.
And then I was brought on.
Now, see, why did you look at that when you knew it was coming?
Because it's different in your mind than it is with your eyes.
Yeah.
Well, remember, I'm thinking,
Like
lawful evil, so like,
Rosebud.
you better appreciate me, right?
Like Rosebud.
Oh my God.
So again, my favorite part was twofold: the plot to get the guns and the whole process of doing that, where he could have just literally said, "I'm going to a place where it's already set up for me," but no, he actually thought about it. Clearly, the author knows a thing or two about the gun trade back in the 60s and 70s, and the dealing with the merchants and the things like that, and getting the trucks, and even the trucks didn't make it all the way. I mean, that could have been a thing, driving a convoy of tanks and stuff like that. And then the other part that really struck me, reading it again this week, was the end, which I'm going to try not to spoil it for Raven, because I do hope she will finish reading it when she's looking at what she's looking at. You naughty girl.
Like, seriously, Raven, like, I did not mean for the conversation to go this route. You could have said no to Justin, but you're looking at it. You're
I get such an education.
No, you see,
Podophilia is the acceptable term for somebody who has a foot fetish. I've never heard of that word
deliberately
before.
told Raven to do it, knowing she would not be able to resist.
I know. I can tell from that grin of
He
yours.
has no resist response.
Oh, I absolutely
I am
do.
such a
I choose
curious
not to use
person.
it.
I really am, and I have to. Well, I have to know.
Look,
then.
Mr. Cat doesn't want you to look. He's trying to protect
Yeah.
you. Hello there, Mr. Cat. Hi. Aw.
Yes. Cat
You're
knows
being
better.
far too innocent. This cat is on shift if she passes out for the first bite. He has to be the one to tell the other 35 that she's finally dead and they can eat now.
Is he the alpha cat?
No, they're on shifts.
Mhm. So the other part that I liked, and
But yeah, I do appreciate that the story doesn't.
Go ahead, Tanner. Tanner.
I do appreciate the story does kind of yeah, I'm right here. Hello.
You were saying?
Oh, I see. Your net's being a bit slow. Never you mind. Continue.
No, you're the one talking.
You were
Oh,
saying
pardon
something.
me. I did appreciate how the story does address sort of the cliche of there not being like guns and stuff in a fantasy setting, and how you would kind of get around or work with different physics to get that working. And I kind of was amused by the mental image of these little Ewok guys pumping manticora, sorry, and wyverns full of diamonds.
Yeah, I like the use of
Like,
the
it's a
manticore
bit-
and wyverns and whatever the big blue and green or green and red guys were. his army of weirdos that they weren't human, but they all worshipped him and that sort of thing. But the other part was at the end. You can plug your ears, Raven, or keep watching whatever it was you were watching. But how the resolution between he and Eric, we were all expecting, one thing, a big clanging of swords and that sort of thing, and we didn't get that, and that was, I think it was better that we didn't, and that neither of them had to kill each other, and that they
Yeah.
both ended up realizing Amber was more important.
I got the sense that the whole story is him being his old self or trying to live up to his old self, and then at the last moment, the new him wins through. For the moral, the moral choice of like not kicking an asshole when he's down or whatever,
Mhm.
which you should do, and then hit him with a taser and then cut his nuts off and shove him into his mouth.
That's oddly
Yeah.
specific.
Yeah, well,
Sounds
I
like
know,
you've done it before.
I know what I'm doing.
Or maybe it had done to you.
He's threatening me, by the way.
No.
Either would explain a great deal, but go ahead.
I've got my nuts. If you want, I'll show them to you later.
No, that's quite all right. We've had enough of that on this show.
Truly a
Although I
unique
don't think
life
we're
is
any
hard.
actual nuts in that
No,
podcast.
no. Tanner, I don't know if you know the lore, but on this show, we used to talk, or on the Saturday show, we would talk sci-fi.
Here we go again.
And one night, like, we used to have the link in the chat.
Oh, I did hear about that. How a guy's like, hey, can I join in? Sure. Camera's down at his crotch, and he's doing something that I should be able to just say what he's doing, and
he's doing
viewers
this.
probably know, but yeah, we're gonna get demonetized.
We're not monetized. He was jerking it. And this is after I specifically said to Shadow, "Don't let him on. Trust me, you'll regret it. Don't let him on. He's faking. He took too long to answer any questions and was stalling in the chat about sci-fi stuff. So he had time to like Google something quick, right? And then he came with the camera off, and then Shadow went to go grab some water, and the second he stood up, the camera came on. We're looking at junk. And that's why, since then, without question, I call Shadow a gay porn producer. And gay. And I will never let him live it down. So much so that I wrote up a contract that I sent to you on Discord.
What a pal, right, folks?
Never gets old.
I will never let it get old.
Sorry,
Specifically.
pal, but it is a little too late for that, but
I will never let it get old.
Let's see here. But yeah, I definitely came away with this with a very different impression of Eric, and him handing him the jewel of judgment there. I'm like, wow, what a man.
Well,
right?
I assume that there's a bunch of shit that's gone on in the background that we're not hearing about because it's not Corwin's perspective. There's moderated Eric's world.
Yeah, I mean, Eric's no different than Corwin in almost every respect, except that in a way, Eric might have been the better man.
Which is also feeding my theory that might be disproven. But yeah,
Eric was one of my favorite characters for a long time, and he still is like that almost misunderstood bad guy who really wasn't the bad guy, and you find out, oh wait, we're the baddies.
Yeah. Well,
they're Amberites. They're Amberites first and foremost.
Yes.
You are not Derek, Shadow.
Yeah.
You are the guy that lets the guy walking off onto the stream.
Uh-huh.
We already did that joke.
I never let it go. And it's a special.
I missed it. I missed the whole thing.
So did I. I don't think we're missing much. Did Mr. Cat miss it?
I think Mr. Yeah, Mr.
Don't
Cat
worry,
was good. I don't know.
don't worry, Raven. I'll have you look up something that will make you feel like you were there eventually.
Don't do it. Don't do it, Raven. It's not worth it.
You say that like it's a
Like,
good
think
thing.
of Amber
It's
instead.
not a good
You
thing.
know, stiff upper lip and think of Amber.
Stiff upper lip.
Oh.
Stiff upper
Good
lip and think of
education.
Rosebud.
Oh,
Oh, God. Oh, that is.
I understand that
so
reference.
bad. Oh.
I understand that reference.
No, not the wagon.
Oh, we know it's not the wagon. I know where the
I made her
comes
look
from.
it up.
I
Everybody
had
knew
no
that.
idea what I was in.
Oh.
Holy, I had
Yeah.
no idea.
So Shadow is.
Yeah,
One
I-
sec.
go ahead, Tanner. You were going to ask a question, I believe. You still with us, Tanner?
We
lost
lose
Tanner.
topic a lot.
Yeah, I am. Just had to
I
get the
think
door
it
real
froze.
quick.
Oh, okay.
Sorry?
We
Just had to get the
tend
door real
to.
quick. Is there any other topics worth tackling on this book?
Yeah. We usually go through a couple more questions. That being the big one, because this is the appendix in book club.
Book club
Uh,
slash getting distracted with
Right.
other stuff. Mostly.
Is there
I'm
anything from this book in
usually
particular?
squirrel.
And this one's a little hard for Raven because she doesn't run games yet, but she will be running the Monty Python role playing game soon, whether she likes it or not. Is there anything from
that's
this
gonna
book
rock.
specifically that you would steal and throw in an RPG?
Fake out incest relationships. I think that would be funny.
Of course.
I'm not your niece. All right.
I have no idea how I would work that into an RPG session, but I think it would be funny.
So you're a big fan of Joe Dirt? Is that what you're saying?
I liked the first one.
Yeah.
There was a sequel? Why?
Exactly.
The first one had Christopher Walken, etc. It was good. It was funny. Had what's her name? I'm your sister. I'm your sister.
Yeah.
It was hysterical.
Oh. Okay. Definitely dark fantasy. I would do that. Funny.
How about you, Tanner? What would you steal?
Regrettably, I've sort of jumped the gun because I answered this question a bit earlier, but the short answer is pretty close to everything. The not short answer is absolutely how this book deals with demons, where they are embodiments of chaos, they burn away, they're not of the earth. I would I know that the pyre scene, like that's just a perfect way to implement a succubus right there. I would absolutely add in
So side question.
courtly intrigue and mass combat.
Demons not of this earth. So you're saying you would serve Taco Bell at your game?
Not in the slightest. I mean more like things like demons come from the corrupted soured lands. They right.
I'm pretty sure Tanner.
Sometimes
got that.
when I talk, it's better to just interpret
engaging.
what I say and not just
Yeah.
Um,
No. I got. We
what
all
else
got what
would
you
I-
said. I was making a joke.
Yeah.
Taco Bell is.
Justin rarely takes these things seriously, which is why we keep him around because
Life is
everything's got to have
short.
his gesture.
Honestly, I'm pretty sure I was the jester, but we're both in black and white, so this kind of makes sense.
We've got two. So, for me, you mentioned one of the things that really I think Roger did better than anybody I've ever read was the political intrigue and make me care about the characters, all of them involved, and in such a short period of time, you've gotten such a clear, concise picture of who they are. Everybody from Julian and Benedict and Gerard and Random and with like I think he started with the Trumps when he described the characters in their full regalia and they're posing for the court painter who made the cards. You got like this sort of subliminal but stereotypical version of these archetypical characters that you know better than they've been described because of the way they were described. You know things about them. You know how they would react. You can picture how they're going to be with everything, and then occasionally they'll surprise you, like Eric did. I thought the first time reading this through as a youngster that he was going to be the stereotypical, big bad guy at the end, and he wasn't. The big bad guy at the end is Corwin. You're the whole time you're rooting for the bad guy. Kind of, who's on his way to becoming not the bad guy, but he, if he'd left well enough alone.
Is that book 5 or book 10?
He's book
Book
5
because 6 through 10 is a different lead.
Yeah.
Okay.
And had
it's the
and
same.
sadly had Zelazny not passed on, we would have had 5 more. But
I don't know. The last 5, in my opinion, the stories about Merlin are far weaker and kind of convoluted and hard to understand, or at least they were for me back then.
The audiobooks were read by Will Wheaton. That's all you need to know.
ooh.
We won't
Well, I'm
be doing
glad I got the big omnibus because I am not putting up with him.
Yeah,
Fucking
we're not
sweet.
doing that.
That's the remastered Audible.
Yeah,
version.
we'd be 3 pages in.
It doesn't surprise me. He likes to write his name over other people's stuff. Him and Fleece a dick.
Yeah, we would be like 3 paragraphs in, and we would have already said "Shut up, Wesley" like 3 times.
It's really sad because when he started that tabletop gaming thing, I gave him a second chance and was like, "Yeah, okay, you're just a nerd. I can get by this." But then, like, season 2 rolled around and his shit liberally started to show, and it's like, "Yeah, no, you're a subhuman piece of trash."
Yeah. I didn't really like the character to begin with of Wesley,
Yeah, it's not his fault.
but I
He didn't
did
write
see
it.
him in something like a Tales from the Crypt or Dark Side or something where he and his buddy were like old timey barbers, but actually vampires or something. Talking about how the the barber pole that spins the red and white, it actually
Yeah.
represented blood, and it was.
Because it did back in the day.
Minor surgery, dentistry, and haircutting.
Yep.
That's
Even
what
in,
the red, white, and blue.
But with them, it was bloodletting so that they could get a free meal as vampires. It was weird and creepy, but it wasn't Wesley, so it was something I just happened to remember. Probably nobody else remembers that.
He was good in
episode.
Stand By Me. Like,
Yeah, I mean, he he was just taking orders, and an 8-year-old kid. I mean, how bad can they be?
Well, that's the same with Star Trek, right? So.
Mhm.
Grumpy
What's up,
Old Slant,
Grumpy?
I also love your stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's. We need to get this conversation off of Will Wheaton.
Yeah. So we'll go in with the next question, which is would you recommend this to other people? Obviously, including you 4 or 3. I've literally handed my copy of The Nine Princes in Amber to date about 35 times, and I still have my original copy.
Good man.
That's 35 people out there that I said, here, read this, and then we would talk about it incessantly all the damn time.
I will tell you, like, I just finished that Brandon Sanderson writing course thing that he puts on YouTube, and he used that line: "The only people that steal your books are your friends," and it was in this book.
Yeah, that's where it started.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, I think he referenced, like, he was literally referencing this book.
Yeah, because it's a classic line, and there, we've got to, give credit where credit is due, and understand this was again a product of its time. The
I
fact
loved
that
it about that.
the fact that it was written so long ago, that it was ahead of its time back then. Maybe not so much now. So much has gone on in the world, and so much water under the bridge, so to speak.
Well, it's like Barsoon, right? We're talking about Barsoon and the ads killing it the other day on my show, but like also one of the big things in screening was like people were like saying this is just ripping off Star Wars.
Oh, that rips out my heart.
Yeah,
And they even
it's
had
like,
the gall to call it an Avatar clone, and I'm like, do you guys even read anymore? This is.
Do you understand that
Yeah.
this was written 100 freaking years ago?
Have you no
1912.
respect, audience?
it was written before the events that Avatar ripped off in real life happened. Like reality ripped this book off for Avatar to rip reality off.
Kinda. I know that I read somewhere that Deja Thoris was based off of a lot of chief's daughters that Burroughs met when he was working as a prospector. So
Yeah.
kind of
I wouldn't be surprised. They, the Native American women, were probably incredibly exotic to people like that, and their
All kinds of red and shit.
and the way they dressed, was way different from the
Well,
way.
no, he literally like the red people, the white people,
Oh,
the
yeah,
black
yeah, yeah.
people,
Black people, the yellow people.
the yellow people.
Sure.
Kinda. He does flip a lot of those stereotypes, though. Even back then,
Yeah,
like,
but, like-
the air quotes reds are the civilized ones, and the savages are green.
Mhm.
Yes. Well,
And the
yeah.
right. Um, so how about you, Tanner? Are you going to recommend this book to anybody?
Absolutely, if they're into D&D inspiring literature, or just need something a bit different from their usual fantasy fare, I'd say absolutely.
Yeah.
I'll make
Yeah,
it clear to them, this is very much on guard, how dare you? But if you're willing to just go with it, and you're willing to go with its 70s-isms, which I'd actually say that's a plus for me personally. But then I'm one of those like grumpy, I think you called it Ghibli asshole or whatever it was, episode or two back, who just can't stand like modernity and being strangled by machines and shit like that.
Absolutely.
But if you're in the mood for that sort of Robin Hood or King Arthur with a heavy dose of psychedelica, I'd say absolutely.
And a little modernity thrown in. As a former smoker, before I smoked, I wanted to smoke because of this guy and Roger and Rod Serling. He made it sound so much cooler than all the TV ads and things like that. And there's more references to it. And then when he quit smoking, his writing took a drastic turn. Not necessarily for the worse, but you could see that he was like,
he entered a different stage in his life. I think that's fair to say.
And
Where all your best writing, Shadow, will happen after you quit smoking.
Thank you. I think, I don't know. How about
You can't
you,
go downhill.
So are you going to recommend this to anybody, Justin?
If somebody walked up to me with two books, and one of them was Conan the Spider God, and the other one was this book, I would tell them, yes, read this book.
Okay. Well, I hope
the
that
Spider God, the one written by the Swedish guy who couldn't speak English.
No, it was Elspray de Camp, but it was like one of his worst ones.
it also kind of
Elspray
killed
de Camp.
my friend Roger George. I think he died of cancer, and he was taken way too young. He had he wrote a lot of books. I mean, a lot of books. Damnation Alley, the movie, that was his. He worked with a lot of other authors out there, a lot of
Lord
famous
of Light,
people.
Call Me
He
Conrad.
worked with George R.R. Martin for the Wild Cards. And
George, I think, definitely was a fan of these ones. Although I think I prefer the milieu here than in any of his stuff.
Yeah, I can definitely see the influence from his writing with other people. Butcher, his 1718 book, Dresden Files, he clearly stated that, he was highly inspired by this. How about you, Raven? You know any people on your side that would benefit from reading these books?
Yeah, I know a couple of people in mind. Yeah, fantasy.
I hope you will pass the knowledge off to them and get them to read these books. Stephen Colbert was supposedly in the works to make this movie, and I'm like, damn it, I'm going to jail again.
Thank God he didn't.
So I heard you mention Merlin a little while ago. Does Merlin come in
Not the same
later?
Merlin, a different Merlin.
A different Merlin.
Kinda
Or
like how the
maybe it
Gamelon
is the
in the
same
book-
Merlin, but in the original Merlin, and our Merlin
like
is the
how-
shadow of that Merlin. That
Kind
Merlin
of like how the
being
Ganelon.
Say what?
Kind of like how the Ganelon in this book shares a name and a few traits with a historical Ganelon and a fictional Ganelon. But he's
as
not
well
the
as
exact-
Oberon
Yep.
from Shakespeare.
Oberon.
That was
Yeah.
another thing. I don't know if you guys noticed. There's a
yeah.
lot of Shakespearean references throughout his work. He was a big Shakespearean guy. My favorite story of his opens with a line from The Merchant of Venice. And you guys will have to figure that one out for yourself because I don't share that information. But
yeah.
there's
Zelazny died from kidney failure due to cancer. So yes.
Yep.
Cancer.
Smokes have taken way too many good people, man.
and he was what in his 40s.
58. So
Oh, he
not
was 58?
young,
Oh, okay.
but
Yeah.
Oh,
still.
so same age as me.
Like,
Shit.
Yeah, man. Like, if you just disappeared right now, it'd be just a tragedy. And, like, I mean,
Thank
he
you,
was your
I ain't
age
going anywhere.
compared to mine. Yeah. I don't know.
I got to at least write, a decology,
Well, we all know you want to write a dickology.
10
Come
books
on, man.
series.
That was stretched.
No, it wasn't. I barely even changed the sound of the word.
Hey, I didn't make the word up, but that's what it's called when you write 10 books. I bet Cindy would get
By
a
the way,
kick out of these
Justin.
books, Raven. And I'm sure some of the other people that we both know have probably already read them or will read them at some point in their life. But at the same,
It's 10 books in a contiguous series, not
There's
just
more?
10 books
I thought it
period.
was just 10.
yeah.
So a version of Merlin is a character on down the line in the series.
Yes,
Yes.
the second 5-book series is about Merlin, who is related to one of the characters in this series. Not going to say who because that'll spoil things, and you'll have to get
Now,
there
did
yourself.
what version of Merlin's story does Zelazny go with?
None of
Probably
them.
none.
Yeah,
it's,
none.
It's
It's
just
just-
the character.
It's
It's just
someone.
it's just a name like Oberon has nothing to do with the Shakespearean character, etc. It's just it's a cool name, and the fact that the Merlin character is more wizard than swordsman. As a matter of fact, he's not a very good swordsman, but that was something that I wanted to bring up. Normally, like the Narnia books, the Harry Potter books, and other books that go from Earth to fantasy, the Ill Earth War, Lord Foulsbane, whatever you want to call it. Normally, those kind of books piss me off. I hate them because of
Portal
all the
fantasy?
people I've ever met. I'm the first motherfucker who should be going to that fantasy world, and yet I'm stuck with you schmoes. Okay, what's up,
Hey,
Travis? Long time
man.
no see.
Oh, come on. We're not that bad.
I have opened up every wardrobe, every cupboard, every freaking foggy, cloudy night. Hoping, yeah, this will be that night that I get to go to that cool. No,
But you couldn't even
California.
you couldn't even get past the wardrobe malfunction in my Portal fantasy.
Yeah, well, that's a completely different
Speaking
thing.
of, tell me, Justin, what's so funny about a name like Biggest Dickus?
It was just 7th, 8th grade humor that we all had to kind of snicker at. Travis, if you never learned to read, this is the reason to learn. I'm assuming you're joking. And it's good to see you again, man. It's been too long.
If it's just a skill your brain can't wrap your head around, that's what the audiobook's for.
Yeah,
Just make sure you
we'll
get the right
send you the
voice for
links
it.
if you want. Again, assuming you're joking, but maybe not. Maybe you're not. We've had other folks. Fucking George. I just always had this cringy feeling. That's why I won't pick up Harry Potter because it's like the apogee of what I hate about characters going from
You
real
are
world
100%
to
right.
the fantasy world. It
No,
just
he
it's,
isn't.
Harry Potter is a wet sap. Those books are absolutely wretched. J.K. Rowling may not be the devil like people online want her to be. However, okay,
They're books for
Exaggerating
12-year-olds.
not even the
that
12-year-olds, because
is
there's
that
good
is
books for 12-year-olds. I'm trying to say that she operated in a psyop. And if she's not, egg on my face, but she is a master manipulator.
Yeah, I just didn't.
don't
I
know.
didn't like.
The modern stuff. Yeah, maybe, but
Growing
no.
up playing D&D, Harry Potter was so many
Well,
guys
it's
I
not
knew.
D&D.
No. Let me
That's
finish.
the problem. That's why I said it's the antithesis. It's like, and to
Well,
be perfectly blunt,
you know the stereotypical D&D player that got picked on, etc. I didn't
Yeah.
hang out with those guys. I knew a couple
But
of them.
it's not even that kind of like you're reading something that's not in the story into it.
Well, the
no,
stereotypical
he's not
image.
though. That's what I'm trying to
No,
like. Let me give you a little example
read
for
them.
manipulation here, and this is kind of where we're trying to come here. You know how there's a little bit of swordplay in Harry Potter, but usually it's swish and flick and disarming and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That was deliberately done, decided upon by Rowling and her buddies at Warner Brothers, even before the movies, so that parents wouldn't freak out about violence. Meanwhile, in Prydain, characters are like slicing off limbs and stabbing each other in the gut, or well, that's more Redwall. But like in previous children's fiction, you could show a
Yes.
fight.
Yes. There is a thing with modern prudishness that is annoying. Like that's been gradually building since the 60s about that kind of
Yes.
thing.
Oh,
In step like that the
A
slippery
long
slope.
march through the institution. Yes.
Yes. And yeah, but if you actually read her books, there's a lot more blood and gore in it.
Well,
Kids fucking
later
dying.
on, once parents were kind of schmooed in, but like
No, even in the beginning.
eh,
Even in the beginning, like there's like
yeah,
graphic
the scar
descriptions of
and the
people dying and shit like that from book one.
I've never read them, but I just got the impression that it was sort of a continuance of the stereotyping of the people that are into this sort of thing.
Glenn Cook
You know,
was
the way he looked. You know, I know I'm just judging by the way he looked, and I never really saw my fellow gamers getting picked on because of playing D&D. You know, but
but
I know that was a big
he
thing.
does not get picked on by like normal people in that. Like he's like there's the I'm the put upon orphan trope at the beginning of the series, and then he has his like grade level antagonist, which is like something you need to learn. Shadows like levels of antagonization in your writing, because you have that one thief character you want to write, but he has no obstacles in life. He is like Chad Awesome, bouncing from Chad Awesome event to Chad Awesome event
I really
without
didn't. I really
nothing.
didn't uh, try that or feel that when I was writing it.
Yes, but like what you're feeling and what's on the page are two different realities.
Maybe.
in your defense, Justin,
What's up,
Draco
Jason?
Malfoy is meant to be a starter villain. I mean, it's even in his name.
Yes,
Draco Malfoy, false
his
dragon.
he's
On the other hand,
he's his same age minor antagonist.
let me tell you
Right?
about wizard
He's not the
crackers.
he's not the world antagonism. He's the local one.
But in Shadow's defense,
No,
you know, it
Shadow's
is.
writing a book as well, right? Like on my show, we
Couple.
do writing stuff.
Might have to hop on sometime.
Okay.
I think what we're trying to describe is, you know, that might be our time to. It might be our time to stop.
Raven's got a phone call.
I muted this thing. I don't know how it.
Here.
It's your mother.
I hope her mother's not watching this.
I seriously
No,
don't.
that's her phone.
Okay. I love the what's it called there?
Ringtone.
Jason, don't worry, you can rewatch this on YouTube. There was
Please
a lot
do.
of
Share it with all your friends. Hit the like and subscribe buttons. All that crazy shit.
there's a ton of Tanner talking over people like right now in penis humor.
Yeah. You can find a QR code translator app. Get the hyperlink. Put it to a QR code and print them out on your printer and tape them to poles around your neighborhood, so people can like scan and get the YouTube video.
That'd be neat.
It's a good idea. I should do that. Just to
Well, I
get
would
people to do it,
say-
not knowing what it is. Especially when I do an announcement video for prizes. Whenever I did that, we would get so many views for those, and then nobody would, actually follow through, or only the 8 of us that we, always participate would be involved.
Well, it can't be a numbers game, the joy of doing it or the joy of sharing these books with other people. Like, that's why you do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
Because
but organic reach comes from things you try to get more than it does algorithm. So
Yeah. It's like,
which reminds me, I was thinking about it when I look at the books in the Appendix N list, and having now read a bunch of the ones that I'd never read before and read them as an adult with you guys, I'm still convinced that back in 73, 76, whatever, when the DMG was written and they were, they had access to these books and the books that they had access to. I
they were
think
in the
this was one
bookstore
of the
or the newsstand or whatever.
this was one of the best that they had access to that they put on the list. I know I'm highly biased when it comes to that, but
Well, I'll say they listed off the books of this series, which would be the first 5 because the second 5 hadn't come out yet.
right.
I put the on the list, which you can give to Tanner the link to. The all 10 of them, because like there are a lot of just this author and no actual books listed.
Right.
So.
Didn't they mention Jack of Shadows as well? And I know on Dragon number 4 they mentioned Lord of Light, which should still be on there, but it isn't because
It's less of a D&D book than all the others. It's very science fiction-y, which there are some science fiction books.
D&D. I mean, Hyro's Journey's on there, and that's pure post-apocalyptia.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But,
I don't think we could find that. Like,
yeah, we
easily
literally
accessible.
couldn't find it.
you guys either. Shit.
It might be one of those that we'll have to prep ahead of time and
Yes,
and just,
I know it's on Internet Archive. I can get you a link.
Well, that's the thing. They took down all but the first 3 pages of books on the Internet Archive because of a big lawsuit, like
What
last
the
month.
fuck?
Yeah, because it was piracy.
if they're
And
not
The fuck?
if they're not in the public domain, then I get it. And we'll just have to bite the bullet.
Well, that's why people
And
used it.
yeah, and we'll bite the bullet, and we'll have to get physical copies. And now that we all most of us at least enjoy the art of just actually reading, curling up with a good book, and enjoying that one time honored tradition that seems to be rapidly vaporizing before our very eyes. I've got a ton of books that I want to read,
Author
and I don't want to read them. Or
Jack of
listen
Shadows
to.
is on the list.
I was literally going to just read the book, but when I saw the link or the YouTube video that just happened to come up on my feed for this very book read by my friend Roger himself, I'm like, okay, I want to hear him read the book. And I don't know about you guys, but I think he did a really good job. There were some times that he faltered and his voice cracked and things like that, but that wasn't his profession, but I don't think anybody could have done it better. There were scenes that I and the way he delivered some of the jokes and the punchlines. One of my favorite being, I slept the sleep of the dead, a big black thing, 14 hours long. You lucky bastard, getting to sleep 14 hours. What do I got to do to
I'm
get
lucky if I get 14 in a month.
right?
Fuck.
Yeah, sleeplessness has become a huge issue the last couple of years.
I was severe
Me too.
on,
Me
yeah.
too. I've been. I got a dog that's contributing to it at anywhere between 4 and 6 a.m., 3 and 6 a.m. He needs to go to the bathroom, and I got to let him out, and I don't get to
Lucky
go
to
sack
have
back out
Nicholas.
until he's done doing his business, and then he wants to jump on my chest and get belly rubs at 3-4 o'clock in the morning, and I just want to go to sleep. But he's just being affectionate and sweet, and I'm a grumpy bastard, kicking him to the curb, as it were. And then in the morning he looks at me with that look like I wanted to cuddle with you, and you weren't having it. So now I'm gonna mope all day. I'm like, don't worry, dude. I'll take another nap. It'll probably be in like 2 hours, But he don't speak English very well, so there's that.
Well, they're working on that with AI, so
But I really think this.
You'll be able to hear your dog go, "I want to poop. Give me food. I want to poop. Give me food.
Yep.
Food. 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 Food."
But I really do think
That one
that
ended
Can I eat
this
together.
was one of the better books they had access to, and at the time, Roger and a few other authors, Moorcock and uh, others were on were part of what they were calling the new wave of science fiction and fantasy, and
Yeah.
bringing a new feel to these kind of novels, and I think uh,
Oh,
very few
Tanner,
have done
dogs
it as
eat
well.
poo.
What?
Tanner, dogs eat poo. That's why I said that.
Well, I knew that. I was saying no to the dog. No, you can't eat your own feces. You're a higher
Yeah,
being.
Yeah, they do that. It's disgusting.
Oh, trust me. We're house sitting right now, and he doesn't do it all the time, thankfully. But they've got a wonderful golden retriever. I've had the unfortunate of seeing him do it.
I don't.
Never looked at him the same way again.
You are,
You
you
might
are
want to go
not
back
licking
to
my
here,
face.
Travis.
Right.
Yeah.
Or better yet, I would
brush your
tell him to
teeth
go
first.
give
Hey,
grandma
buddy.
kisses.
Fuck you, Grandma.
Second gold star.
Wow.
I'm retracting the other one because you're only allowed to have one at a time.
Okay, that's fine. Still, it's on record. It's this. They say the internet never dies or whatever.
That's a bullface lie.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm
Piracy
looking forward to reading.
websites.
Internet.
Hero's Journey is one of those ones I do want to get to. Now knowing what it's kind of about, but we're gonna have to bite the bullet and
Someone's gonna have to find a copy of it because I can't even find it to buy it.
I have no
There should
problem
be a copy or two on
buying the
Z-Link.
book as long as it's not like $20, and then
Yeah.
it sucks because like I bought a bunch of
Tanner,
books.
give me find me a link to that Z library. You said send it to me on Discord, okay?
Yeah, we can make that for maybe May or.
When I'm back home in a day or two, absolutely.
But all Justin Snide remarks aside, I think this is definitely a worthy book to put in the appendix and to put on most of your reading list if you haven't read it before. Some of the things he does, mind you, it's been quite a few decades since it was written, but back in the day when he was writing this stuff,
You
he
should
was
read
one
some
of those.
Glenn Cook.
What?
It was mentioned. It was mentioned in the chat earlier. Glenn Cook. He wrote
Okay.
The Black Company.
Absolutely on
Yeah.
my list. Him and David Gemmell. If you ever want to understand the lawful good human fighter, read David
Okay.
Gemmell.
But the Black
I think
Company, the Black Company is
Mhm.
like how you run a mercenary company game. Definitely.
And unfortunately, Gygax, maybe in some other book that he might have put an appendix N in, which I think is also pretty interesting that I don't think we've talked about when it comes to the appendix N, is that I know it's not an original idea per se, putting like the equivalent of a bibliography in a game book, but in a game book,
in any book.
Costume.
I believe it's in Grandma's room, and I didn't go,
I think
So-
Workbook should.
I asked you to check.
and I
You
didn't
said
find
you
it,
would check.
and I didn't.
You didn't check.
Because I'm not going to Grandma's room. He needs his Crusader costume for a school event, so awesome. But I think that putting
Nice.
putting the equivalent of an appendix in game books, and I've been seeing that a lot more lately, as opposed to there was a good couple of decades where it wasn't a thing. A lot of the great games out there. Traveler never had one. Traveler absolutely should have had one because
At
there's
least a few movies. Yeah.
Space Viking and some of the other books by the same author were literally Traveler before Traveler.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely the Doomerist books.
Unfortunately, much to Justin's dismay, the Stainless Steel Rat books were, because they were also in the Traveler books. He did do the next best thing, which was make statted out characters of people from famous literature, and that was one of them.
I tell you, I tried. I'm doing some work. Pop on the audiobook to listen to, and I'm listening to Stainless Steel Rat, and I get maybe halfway through the first chapter, and I'm like, "Fuck this, I'm out." I went and listened to some Sherlock Holmes, and it sounded less dated.
Well,
Harry Harrison is another one who you either like him or he rubs you
Well,
all kinds of
he
wrong
he gave
ways.
us Make Room, which was Soylent Green. He gave us it was either Rollerball or Silent Running. So for that,
No, it was Rollerball. It wasn't Silent Running.
because they all three authors have like the name Harry and Harrison in their name, but there's like a middle name that's different.
Thank you, Grumpy Old Slon. Yes, I live for this old school science fiction, horror, and fantasy. It's pretty much my lifeblood, besides my actual blood.
Yeah,
I do know. I know the Harry Harrison, and I like him, but not like love him. At least not yet. He at least deserves credit for this. He gifted us Bill, the Galactic Hero.
right. And he also gave us, the Death World novels, which 40K took. Thank you. You beat me to it.
So did Traveler.
No, there was a 40K sort of thing. They ran with the Death World concept, almost stealing it verbatim. But
I
there's
don't
a
even
lot.
think he created that. That was or at least humans are the true warriors. Fuck, what's his name? I was just looking them up the other day.
Heinlein?
No, he had
Thank
three
goodness.
names. Highline's not that bad, man. Don't badmouth Highline.
I've got no problem with his fans. I just can't stand him or her stuff. His stuff. Why did I call him a her?
Yeah, I've read a bunch. I read a bunch of his books. His Heinlein was the first real sci-fi guy, Necromunda, that I ever read. But after a while, I couldn't read anymore. I just
Yeah. No.
I'll rant on Heinlein another
Guy
time,
has
but
three
I've tried a
names.
few of his books, and it feels like I feel like I'm reading Family Guy, if that makes sense.
definitely, if you ever read Glory Road or The Moon is the Harsh Mistress,
Oh, Glory Road.
Glory Road
yes.
is just like, what were you on? And I guess you
To
have
be
to ask.
perfectly blunt, and I'm not the kind of guy who gets offended at literature, right? If
We lost you again.
like
Right.
pardon me, I was just gonna say Glory Road. I am not the kind of guy who gets like offended at literature. It's like people like to say I get bent out of shape. It's more bad quality that bothers me. Halfway through Glory Road, the argument between the main character and Star, I was so furious and so disgusted with what Heinlein did with these characters, I almost threw the book. I was like, wow.
You gotta
fuck
understand,
you, dude.
like he got married like 94 billion times.
Yeah.
And he was the opposite of most men, where he took on the political opinions of his woman. So a lot of his books are like whoever he was married to that week.
Right.
It definitely explains his free love beliefs.
And The Moon is the Harsh Mistress did give us that classic line, "That's a funny once," which I always hung on to when they're trying to explain humor to the computer or what have you. They're trying to teach it how to be funny, which I think will never happen, but who knows. So, Raven,
Yes.
you getting the urge to read some more of this weirdness? Curl up with a good book and a half a dozen cats to keep you warm, and your trademark neck light, and a half a pack of cigarettes, and a couple of bottles of some sort of fermented grain beverage,
Bourbon.
and join us.
And a hookah.
I wish.
Some mushrooms.
You don't need drugs. Tanner's around.
This is Raven. She's high all the time.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Don't tell people that.
At the very least, you're high on cat spray.
Catnip.
No.
Catnip in this house.
The cats are high on the catnip. You're high on the spray.
Exactly what I was getting at, Grumpy.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Big air quotes. Saint.
We definitely have a lot of more books to cover. We won't be covering a couple of books. One was already mentioned, and we won't be covering probably anything by Tolkien, just because it's been done to death. High on toxoplasmosis. I wouldn't know, but
Taxoplasmosis, yeah, but that was
And you,
the
I know you guys hate Harry Potter, and if you're not
I
going to
don't
be,
hate Harry Potter. I think Harry Potter is very good for its age intended demographic,
well,
and it
yeah,
aged with its audience, so it's okay. Um,
I have
Just because
the
I can't stand
Hogwarts,
it doesn't mean I'm
let's
going to
put it
use it.
this way, guys. I would be
and
more inclined to read The Dark Tower than I will ever read
you
Harry
should
Potter.
read The Dark Tower.
I keep hearing that.
Funny you guys should mention the Dark Tower. Guess which was some of the when I was getting into comics at around 15 or so. Guess which were some of the first I got
Dark
into.
Tower. You gave that
Yep.
away.
In fact, to this day, to this fucking day, I'd still love to do a fantasy setting with 13 moons, each colored after the orbs.
Mm.
I have long since soured on Stephen King, but I'll still do that for him.
The Long
Well,
Walk
then
is a really good
you'll
book.
like where I'm going with the moons and the God War, or at least I hope so. It's funny how almost no one has read that far in the document. I can tell how far people have read in the document for the God Wars by their strategies and their questions, etc.
You don't know my strategies.
I know everybody's strategy. I
Yet.
know exactly what they're going to do. I know who's going to win, etc. I'm also entirely full of shit
Oh
right now.
wow.
Um,
Yeah, I know you are. I'm a chaotic, evil
Raven's
motherfucker.
probably gonna win.
yeah, I
I'm
couldn't
not.
read the
Well, I'm
Silmarillion,
jealous.
man.
I get
I
to win.
tried. I couldn't do it. It was the names were awful. I've seen some videos on it, and it looks like it must have been awesome. But
It
I
was
just
world building. It's a
Oh, it
world
is.
building book. It was never meant for public release.
Something I should mention, and this might either help or hinder Shadow, but in Tolkienian lore, and I can find them for it if you'd like. Raven, do not look this up. This is not reverse
okay.
psychology. Because it's built on like older languages, there is in fact an elf named Teleporno.
Really,
She got it.
that
Yeah,
can't go
really.
wrong for
He's
anybody.
an actual character.
I expect that to
Back
be
when
in the
those words
Amazon
meant something
TV
very
show
different.
by the end of the week. I'm surprised that wasn't the main character on the Amazon TV show.
Honestly, if they owned the rights, they probably would have, just so they could
I
make
thought
all
they were
the
only allowed to use
dirty
stuff
elf
from the
jokes.
Silmarillion.
No, it's worse than that. They can only use stuff from the what's it called there? The appendices, the Lord of the Rings. They can't use anything from Silmarillion. That's why the lore's complete bunk
did
there.
you guys like Game of Thrones?
What?
Did you guys like Game of Thrones?
Unfortunately, I have read and watched it. Yes.
I like the books better than the show. I gave up on the show after season 3.
Yeah, it's like how do you have Game of Thrones and not have Granny Knucklebones?
Well, the problem is like they would introduce something and then drop it without even moving through the story arc or concluding it. So
They got
no,
lazy.
from
They
the
got very
beginning.
lazy.
It wasn't they got lazy.
Yeah, trust
They
me,
were
that's what I
lazy at the
mean.
beginning. They would introduce something, get to step 1, and then move on to something else and get to step 1, then move on to something else and get to step 1. And like by season 3 I realized it was just getting to step 1 and not like they would never come back to anything.
Television show writing. Very.
I would use a different word.
Hmm.
Well, what's the word?
I think we've already covered all the no words. So
It starts with a J and ends in a W there, Tanner. There's only one letter in the middle.
no.
Well, I guess we'll never find out what the word is.
Jew.
But I'm not in my head right now. Yes. Okay. You summed it up better than I would, but I'll just sum it up by I gave up by season 3 or 4 when all the characters I actually gave a fuck about died, and I had to deal with all these bores. And I noticed this would never have a good ending. And I'm like, you know what, George R. R. Martin and Dumb and Dumber and all of you, mostly garbage actors and a couple good ones. Fuck you guys. Game of Thrones and Harry Potter, to be perfect, I'll just say this and I'll toss the puck on to you guys and shut up for a bit.
It's a side character, not a
Harry
lead.
Potter and Game of
No,
Thrones
no,
are two of
Martin
a
is
handful of
not
works
Jewish.
where they are anti-inspirations. I go out of my way to not write like that.
George Martin is not Jewish. The writers of the TV
I didn't say he
no,
was. Pretty sure he's
George
Catholic.
Rooster Gaming in the chat there. The writers of the TV show are
Stars.
yes.
I just thought they were
No,
incompetent.
they're both blood and religious Jews.
Yeah, I remember when
I don't have a soundboard right now.
when the ending of the series came about, and a lot of people I watch were panning how it ended,
Okay, so
and they ruined it.
that's the series, the ending I saw being foreshadowed in book 1. When the kid fell out of the fucking tower,
Ooh.
I knew he was going to be the one at the end of the series. The problem is because they never completed any, like they never developed any of the actual story arcs that were developed in the books and concluded in their proper stage places. You don't get any build up to that. You don't get any passion for that. There's no foreshadowing of it because there's no revelation of these events. And the big theory with why George is not finishing Martin, not the guy in the chat.
I had a raccoon in the kitchen.
You always have a raccoon in the kitchen.
I'm starting to think that's a euphemism for something
He's a
else.
chef.
Yeah.
No. Seriously, you can't mistake it. They snarl and they crunch. They chew so loudly. It's unmistakable.
So they're my relatives at the dinner table.
But finish your thought, Justin. They can't.
Because they never actually finished any arcs to build up to the planned ending, George got depressed over how poorly it was received in the show, because the show was all fucking bread and circuses and no substance. So he's now disenchanted with actually finishing the books, even though the books actually do have substance behind them, even if you dislike some of the degeneracy in the way it's written. I personally don't, because I understand it's the context.
Absolutely. Like I'm a dedicated
the thing.
I'm a dedicated Game of Thrones hater, and I'll say there's stuff the books do much better. Not even a question.
It's on like Rothfuss, on the other hand, who is just a fucking dickwad. That guy
sucked.
spit on the sheet.
Even as a kid, I knew he sucked. But we've gone from Amber to roasting writers we don't love.
That's okay.
It was even worse. I can actually confirm your suspicion because they're relying less on books as they go on. They would go to Martin, who's like typing up the next book. They look through it really quickly. He's like, "Hey, listen, that's not done yet. This is it. This is garbage. Come up with something better."
No,
and
not even that. It's like because
they
never finished any of the stuff that they did have. When they didn't have anything, they started filling in gaps on their own.
And that's what I mean. They then rub in the salt by getting up in his grill about it. Like, you can't treat the author like that.
If they'd actually taken time to resolve some of the things they opened up that were resolved in the books, they wouldn't have had that problem. Because there were story arcs never resolved in the show that were resolved in the books that they just skipped over the resolution to. Mm-hmm. Because you don't resolve everything at the same time. You don't have time to do that at the end of the story. You start things here, you end them there. You start things here, you end them there. You overlap that, especially when you have a multi-book series. The shorter your book, the less you have to bring up new arcs to deal with.
Chaos theory, yeah.
That's why, like, a lot of older books tend to not hit with newer readers, like younger people, is because they're shorter and thus have a lot less going on, so they feel shallower. It's an observation. When you have like a...
So Any parting thoughts on Amber? Because one final thought for me is that I'd love to use the Black Road.
The Black Road is an interesting.
Um,
The Yellow Brick Road is a very interesting concept.
I meant the Black Road
He-
from the
yeah,
second
he-
Amber
he's-
book, where
Like,
it's this.
like I said, the Yellow Brick Road is a very interesting concept.
Wait a sec. He wasn't being poetic there. That actually was the Yellow Brick Road.
Yes, I know.
I was imagining like this
No. It's
abomination
it's just-
black growing road
Justin's
just
just
ripping
being
through the
facetious.
cosmos.
it's like there are themes and trends that are recycled through literature, and like this is one of them,
You
like the
think?
road of enchantment and whatnot.
Yeah, but it's more like the road to hell.
Yeah, it
Which-
might as well be. Well, there was the
which-
Red Road, right? In the Wizard, like if you remember,
And Glory Road.
If you
Yeah,
look at the
it's-
movie, the way
Raven, Google Glory Road.
Don't
I have
actually
no
do that.
idea
Don't
what-
do that. Don't you dare look it up.
in the movie, in
I
the
am
movie,
telling you, not asking you. Do
in
not
the
look
movie,
it up.
The Wizard of Oz, the Yellow Brick Road is paralleled with a red brick road,
And the
sort
blue
of
one.
offsetting. What blue?
and the blue one. There are
Right,
three.
and one of them just leads to
Or four.
the rest of Lilliput, or not Lilliput,
It's a
but
reference to the book
Munchkin
where
Land.
each
It
lands
just
are the color.
branches off and goes to the Munchkin Land.
Yeah.
But there's another road that we just,
And we all know what's hanging around in Munchkin Land.
Munchkins.
There was literally a hanging munchkin in the background.
That was actually debunked. Like that was something else in the background. Everyone thought it
It's
was.
funnier when it's true.
No, it's not. Someone died, and they weren't party animals either. All right. We've been here for wow, pretty close.
Yeah,
to 2
well, we
hours.
usually-
usually stick around for
Okay.
2, sometimes even 3. But I am going to cut this one at 7 because I need to do some stuff
7
pertaining
is
to
done.
God Wars.
I gotta eat some
But
dinner too.
yeah, final thoughts. Tanner, did you finish yours or?
Absolutely. The
Yeah.
book, right? Absolutely. You read it?
No, I mean
cover to cover.
your final parting thought on the book.
Gives me a lot to use down the line. Admittedly, I am working on another campaign, which is stalled until after God War. You guys are invited if you'd like. But yeah, it absolutely gave me stuff to think about. I'm definitely looking forward to see where the reveals go in book 3. I'm very much up for more Zelazny, and do we know what the next target's going to be?
No idea.
The next book, no, we'll talk about that after we go through the round robin of final thoughts on this book. Raven, even though you didn't finish it, and I do expect you to finish it as soon as
Oh, I
possible.
will. I got to know how it ends, but it sounds like it doesn't really end because it just goes into the next book, right?
It opens up a
It does,
mystery.
but it does resolve some very crucial issues that is one of the reasons why I love this book so much. But yeah, please finish it, and
I will.
hopefully you'll see some of the things that are yet to come, and you'll get some closure on some of the issues that were started in the first book. Justin, Raven, final thoughts.
It's a great series of books. I enjoy the storyline. It's action filled. You just never know where it's going to go next. It's got a lot of surprise to it, and it keeps you interested.
I don't think it'll disappoint anyone but Justin, but we'll see.
It's better than I thought it was originally when I first tried this series.
Okay, well, maybe
But I do eternally see the face of Eeyore when I think of Corwin.
Eeyore? What?
Is it not Eeyore? The
yeah, that's the donkey in the 100 Acre Woods.
I see Eeyore like half the time.
I see him more as like world weary and tired, but at the same time looking for a new sense of purpose now that he has a second chance. And
Eeyore.
having lived through much of Earth's history, the Black Plague, etc., and
That's
waking up.
depressing, bro.
But he's also, he's still got a dry wit and charm to him. I think that will hopefully grow on you. He's a very interesting and different character than the stereotypical, dash, daring, Dudley Do Right, Lancelot, or even some of the more modern Fafhrd and Grey Mouse or Conan kind of characters, where they're nothing but either, fight and fuck or eat, drink, and be merry. He's got some more substance and some more, he's more of a thinking man's hero, I think, than some of the traditional, hack and slash murder hobo characters that were propped up for most of the history of gaming and fantasy and swords and sandals and that sort of thing. He's so definitely a Renaissance man kind of hero.
I don't know, man. A lot of the sword and sorcery heroes are pretty bright. I mean, Ethan Kothar pulled one over on someone one time.
Right, but
my version is far better.
And that is...
he's just like I said.
Either of my versions.
I guess it.
Are you sure it's on the box in the garage?
It's on someone's box.
It's on a coat
Okay,
hanger.
no, it's not.
Classic
Then it was
parenting
in that
problems.
bag that was hanging on the back of the door of your grandma's room. Still looking for the Crusader costume, so that's the other thing I got to get to.
Yeah.
One of my favorite, or I should say, my favorite band of all time is Blue Oyster Cult, because they were called the Thinking Man's Heavy Metal, and that's the same approach I go to, or I pick up from this, where with the intrigue and things like that. Most of the fantasy novels, there is no real whodunit, and that's what I like about this, is that there's still a big mystery going on that we have yet to unravel, and we will get there in the next two books. By the end of the Hand of Oberon, which is the fourth book, you'll be like, okay, I think I know what's going on. And
The one question I have is, what's so special about Jewelers Rouge from Avalon? Because I got Jewelers Rouge around here somewhere.
Played nice with the physics, I suppose.
it's flammable and explosive, so to speak.
In Amber, but
Not in Avalon.
yeah,
It's just one of those little quirky things. It is kind of a.
You know what Jewelers Rouge is, right?
Isn't it like a powder used for polishing?
No, it's polishing wax impregnated with iron oxide.
Okay, I thought it was actually
You can buy a bar of it, like a quarter pound, for like $20 off of Amazon right now.
I thought it was more of an abrasive kind of like powder.
Yeah. That's like polishing waxes have abrasives in them. You spin up your polishing wheel, you put a little on there, you rub it on there, it pulls them off into the brush, and then you polish your item with it. It acts like sandpaper on
The fact that he chose that means that he probably had some experience with it. Maybe
or just saw some somewhere.
no idea.
That's a thing that's got a weird name.
Maybe it was that.
Speaking of weird names, this is definitely film noir dressed as high fantasy.
Yes, that's another thing I think that attracts me to it.
Right down to the whiskey.
Yeah, and other things, but
I didn't say juice, I said whiskey.
so next, not next week, but the week after, we'll put us solidly into May, and I think I'll have to double check, but I think Roger's birthday, unless someone wants to Google it, is in May or it's June. In which case, then we'll read Sign of the Unicorn in June, in honor and memory of that. And if that's the case, then in the meantime, we'll read something else Anybody got a suggestion that's actually on the list?
Just thinking of what I own right now that's Appendix N. Let's see. We could read.
I can pull it out here, the old version. I should have a bookmark in here, but I don't.
Oh, and
Oh, I
and can
do
we
actually.
read? Or well, obviously we can read in real time. Could we? Would it be reasonable to also check out stuff from the Dragon Magazine 4 Appendix N down the line?
Okay, so we've got a pretty exhaustive version of the Appendix N, expanded from the one
In the DMG.
on in the DMG, because when it just
Oh,
lists
nice.
an author's name, I have like everything pretty much released before 77. I'll send you the Google Doc in a minute. And it's
Thank you.
all collapsed, and so
Have you guys dug into any Paul Anderson yet?
let me go back up because I'm pretty sure we did The Broken Sword.
In that case, unless it's like too early for me to make a suggestion, we could do High Crusade or Three Hearts. I love those ones. We could do World of Tears, but you might want a break after the Amber books because they're the same sort of new wave, lots of cigarettes, lots of whiskey, lots of
You think we'd want a break from that?
I don't care. If you can find it on YouTube, that would be best, and like put it in the book club group.
I've read these and I like these. Don't love them, but I do like them. But I'm not sure if these would be your thing. We could check out some of the Harold Chase stories. Ingvi was a louse! They are elsewhere at the camp, so that might be a deterrent.
No, I don't care. Harold Chase.
I don't see him on the list.
No, that's the character.
No, it says on my image at least, Decrepit Prant Harold Chase series.
L Spray de Camp, Harold Chase series.
It might be underneath the Complete Enchanter.
No, I have it here. I just sent you the full one. It's listed. It has 3 solitary books by him, and then that series.
Oh, I see. I think you've sent it to my regular account. I'm on the Dark Tanner account right now.
Yeah, I only have you on one Discord, so I'm only friended with you on one Discord account. So
he opened up a new one this morning.
Why?
Oh no, that's my backup one for when I'm out here.
Out here.
I just said we're house sitting, man. Well, not just said.
He's not at home.
You know you can use your Discord account anywhere on Earth, right?
Yes, but it's nice to have a backup.
Okay. So, what are you guys thinking?
One more idea. After we're done the some of the Amber books, we could try out the Changeling Earth trilogy. Those are pretty good.
I've never read them. So, who wrote those?
Fred Saberhagen. He did Berserker as well.
Oh yeah. We just read Saberhagen last week or last show.
Yeah, last two.
Yeah.
What? The road.
Have you found any of the ones mentioned there, Justin?
Yeah. Okay, I found a playlist with six things. are 7. Oh, so 2, 4, 6. Yeah, the Roaring Trumpet. It's in 7 parts on this playlist, but they're not in order, so you have to pay attention to it. I'll drop the playlist in the
Okay, who is that by?
El Spray de Camp.
Okay.
If
The
that's the
Roaring
one from
Trumpet.
YouTube, that one might not be a very good quality.
It seems to be okay.
Alrighty. In that case, I'll give that one a reread if we're doing that next week. 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me take a look at something real quick here.
The only problem is the order of the playlist is not in order, so you have to pay attention to it. The narrator does say gives a little preamble. It says part 1, part 2, whatever. So I will append that to the bottom of the playlist, the Google Doc,
Sweet.
like I've been doing, and then drop the playlist into the.
That was his actual name, not even a pen name, Rooster.
What? Spray de Camp?
Yeah. A lot of people thought I made it up, but it's his actual name.
That's George.
Yeah, George is just being funny.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, nowadays, DeCamp probably would be a Twitch streamer.
Potentially.
Okay. That's odd. It's.
Okay, well, we'll do all this in the back end, folks. We're
Yeah.
going to say goodnight. I may do a module or something review tomorrow morning. Otherwise, you guys won't see me till. I don't know if I don't think we're doing a traveler game Saturday because I believe Alban is out, and that would just leave George and Justin. So we'll just do our regular.
Well, if Raven shows up.
Yeah, she's always welcome to join us for
Yeah.
Traveler. I don't think she's finished watching last week's episode, and that's an absolute must if she's going to join us.
Yeah.
And Tanner, we're going to invite you if you're interested in joining us in one of the Saturday night games.
I'd be down, but I've already got a Saturday night game, I'm afraid.
That's what I figured or remembered, but
Boo.
still wanted to throw that out there.
Hey, they're some of my best friends, man. If it ever crashes,
Taser
which hopefully
them.
it doesn't, but, I'll definitely stick my thumb out and hop on.
Okay, that's fair.
I'll get into Cosmic Space Debt.
But that's what we got. Raven, any words of wisdom before we mosey on out the door?
Yeah. No. I have no words of wisdom. No.
No words of wisdom?
Okay.
Okay, you got any words of tomfoolery, shenanigans?
Don't feed the raccoons.
Damn right.
That sounds like words of wisdom.
She's
But-
gonna Canadian joke here for you. She's gonna get those damn raccoons if it's the last thing she does.
Oh, Tanner, they tore up. I was loading trash, take to the dumpster, and I was just going in and out. I had to climb like 2 big flights of stairs, getting down and back. And just in that little amount of time, one of those little creeps got in my Jeep and tore up a huge bag of trash and had it everywhere. Coffee grounds everywhere. It was just a mess, and it took him no time at all.
Of course not.
You should
That is indeed
invest.
tragic, and I feel for it deeply. But I was referencing the cartoon from our country, the raccoons. Sneer,
Yeah.
sneer.
Yeah. The Raccoons is a good cartoon show.
Indeed.
You should watch
I
it.
love it. I did.
Also-
It's great.
Raven, you should invest in a trash compactor.
My folks used to have one. Oh,
You can kill the raccoons that way. Just throw those suckers in and watch them squirm.
Yeah. Or just like get one that's like a fixed unit with a chute out your door, so it just goes down, and like this is an expensive option, but leave a section open so they can crawl in there, and when you see them in there, you just hit the button.
Anyway, you guys have yourself a wonderful 2 weeks. It was nice to spend time with you all, and I can't wait
Definitely,
for
Tanner. Good seeing you.
Yeah.
Take care.
Take care,
The
Tom.
audiobook is in the group chat.
Oh,
Just remember, it's
that was quick.
Yeah.
I guess he's got stuff to do,
Yeah.
as most of us do. Thanks everybody for sticking around and playing along.
let him know when you talk to him next that he can bolt
I
at
will.
any
He'll
time.
probably hit me up tonight when he's done with
Yeah.
dinner or whatever is going on.
I've got to do my selections for God Wars.
Yeah. Hopefully, we can get back on schedule. If not,
Yeah. Did you create that list in the rule section for the options that you can pick during your weekly selection yet, Raven?
No, I have not done that yet. No, I've been dealing with this electrical thing.
she's got her first weekend, and there's time.
No, I want it so I can just go reference that
Oh.
that quick chart, so I don't have to go looking through shit.
Well, why don't you
Why?
keep the chart? It's easier for you to make it than me.
I have no idea where it is.
I'll find out what page it starts on, because there is a big list followed by a definition of what the things are, but it's 20, 30, 40 pages in.
Yeah.
Some
It's
felt
top-
maybe not 40 pages in, but it's a little deeper than the first section. But the little guy needs my help with the finding of the Crusader costume. So I will see you guys all later.
Tomorrow.
Everybody
at
out
the
there,
latest.
have yourself a great weekend, and until next time, happy
Party on.
trades.